That's when you really give yourself space to show up in your own power, like we talked about at the beginning.
Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. It includes stigma topics like sex, addictions, mental illness, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. It's been amazing, but I'm so excited for this interview as well with the beautiful, amazing, brilliant Olivia. I'm so excited to have you. She is a decluttering and intentional life coach, and she's talking obviously everything decluttering and how to just like live a more intentional life. So I'm so excited. But before we get into everything and all the goodness, ladies, if you're catching the live, please comment below and say hello to us. Olivia, just tell the ladies inside the summit just a little bit more about yourself.
Sure, I'd love to. First of all, thank you so much for having me as a part of this. I'm super excited about that. And I'm happy to be here with all of you today talking about my favorite thing. As Samantha said, I am a declutter and intentional life coach. So basically what I do is I work with female entrepreneurs and, as I like to call them, ambitious professionals to really streamline their systems and really declutter all the things in their life that aren't serving them within their life and their business so that they can actually create time freedom. So that basically for me means having the ability to be in control of how you're spending your time. And I find that that's why a lot of us step into our businesses in the first place. We want that agency over how we're showing up and what we're doing. And that also means, how we're showing up outside of our work as well. And so, really going through and decluttering all the extra things that we feel like we need to be doing or we should be doing, again, inside our business, outside of our businesses, in our environments, that we can really create that time freedom.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Hi, Wendy. How are you, gorgeous? Thank you for joining the live with us. And oh my gosh, I love decluttering so much. It has done wonders for my life. So I'm so excited for this conversation, for you to share all your expertise with all the ladies inside of here to help them just do maybe one or two things to, build their confidence and to catapult them in different directions just with decluttering. Because just this week, I have been tidying up a few things, throwing some things out that just don't serve me anymore. And then immediately my depression has been okay, yeah, we're gone now and we're excited for everything. It's okay, decluttering is this wonderful thing.
Yes, totally. It's super, super powerful. And what I find and how I like to always preface these things is that decluttering is really so much bigger than just interacting with our physical things. That's always kind of the disconnect that I get. It's oh, you're going to help me clear the stuff out of my house. And that's one aspect of what decluttering is, but it's so much broader than just your physical stuff.
Yes, I love that. So we're going to get right into things. So Olivia,
Perfect.
Why do you believe it's important for women to build their confidence in general?
Honestly, oh my gosh, this is just such a big answer. And I have so many thoughts about this, but for me, confidence is really mindset work. And it's about knowing your value and knowing how you want to be showing up and knowing yourself so that you can say, okay, this is what I'm here to do. This is how I want to be showing up. This is the energy that I want to bring. This is how I want to serve people. And in order to really step into our purpose, into our deeper calling, if you want to call it that, we really need to have that underlying confidence and deep-seated self-worth of I got this, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And so confidence is everything. It literally is that is the mindset work that we're doing. Whether or not you're an entrepreneur, the way that you show up in your life all comes down to the confidence that you have in yourself and in your abilities.
Yes. Build all the confidence so you can show up in your life or your business or both. Because I know not every woman that is attending the summit and who might be even listening to this later on, they may or may not be an entrepreneur or have their own business. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I love that you can just build your confidence in one area and it can help you show up in different areas of your life. Talking all the things confident, what is the most confident thing you've ever done, Olivia?
Honestly, the most confident thing I've ever done has been starting my business. I literally feel it has been the process of turning my body inside out. Hey everyone, look at what's on the inside. It has been the most incredible experience, and the amount of growth that I have seen in myself since starting my business has just been exponential from everything that happened up until that point. You really just step into yourself in a whole new way when you're okay, this is what I'm doing. And I need to fully be here if I want this to work. I would say that's the first thing. And the other thing that comes to mind is something that happened about year before I started my business, but I would say that it like started the energy, like it started things, got things moving, so to say. And that was getting out of a toxic relationship and being like, okay, I'm done with this. Like I am ready to come back to myself, essentially.
Yes. Okay. I'm totally here for that. I've left abusive and toxic relationships as well. So I'm like, yes, I feel you on that. And seriously, just leaving them, you have that much more confidence in yourself because you're like, oh my God, like that felt like potentially one of the most like the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life, but I did it. So it's like, okay, if I can do that, what else amazing things can I do for myself?
Yes, 100%. And it really is that experience of being in a situation where, well, this is at least my experience of that, where you kind of feel like you're losing yourself, but you don't even know that you're losing yourself because that's what's happening in the situation. Like this other person is kind of taking that power away from you, and really taking that power back is just like poof. And you're like, okay, like this is what this feels like now that I can like step back into that fully. That, yeah, it just started the momentum flowing right after that.
Yes, step back into your power, ladies. Doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or not, still stepping into your power is so amazing. And then you can have the confidence and make decisions for where you want to go. So how can decluttering rebalance your life or your business or both? Like, I'd love for you to touch on that.
Sure. So again, kind of coming back to like the fact that decluttering isn't just like physical stuff. I like to frame it as like three parts. So physical, mental, and emotional. When I talk about time freedom, a lot of the things that come up there are really that mental and emotional side of things, where we just have so many embedded beliefs about like what it means to work and like how we need to be showing up in order to be successful, and like we need to work hard and we need to be hustling and like we need to be on all the time. And it's like those are societal beliefs that we have just been taught, and we're like, okay, this is the truth, like this must be true, everyone's always said this to me. So a lot of the mental clutter comes from feeling like we're not doing enough, that we need to be doing more. And whenever we feel like we're not doing enough, that means that we're tying our worth and our value to doing as opposed to who we actually are. So that is like really the first kind of clutter criteria, I would say, is like that mental clutter tied to how we're showing up in our businesses or in our work in a way that feels like we just need to be doing more, and clearing those mindset blocks.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I know there's even some mothers, whether they're dog moms or mothers of their own human or adopted children, and like sometimes even for moms, they're like, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. And it's like, okay, you're overbearing yourself with all these responsibilities and you're doing an amazing job. Like you don't even see that because we're too close to the problem. And we're like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I need to do this for the kids and I need to do this for the kids. And it's like, okay, whoa, whoa, you're doing an amazing job. Even if you did like a fraction of that, and reminding them of that, like you said, with that mental decluttering is so important to remind them and bring that awareness back, that it's like, okay, you are doing a lot, you're doing amazing. And let's like cut back some things so that you can feel so much better about what you're doing.
Yes. And that is totally it. That's like the next step then of like, okay, we're addressing the mental clutter that's coming up now. Let's see how that's manifesting itself in like what you're actually doing. And like you just said, exactly, we're putting way too much on our plates. Like it's not necessary for us to do all those things. But again, like it ties back to that mental perception of I need to do this in order to like get the validation or get worth or show up and be quote unquote a good entrepreneur, a good mother, whatever your story is. And really going into, okay, what are you doing? Like literally what's on your to-do list, and what is it that actually requires your attention, and streamlining that list down. Because again, we don't need to be doing all the things in order to be successful or show up for other people. And it's really like what ends up happening when we're doing those things is we forget to show up for ourselves.
Okay. So like with decluttering that whole process, how does someone then like show up for themselves while they're taking back and like cutting some of like their responsibilities and decluttering that like mental pile of stuff that they need to do?
So what I work through with my clients is an intentionality framework. And that for me is really the foundation of saying, okay, something is not in alignment with how you're showing up, whether your plate is too full, whether it doesn't feel right, whether you're overworked, you're burned out, whatever it is. Let's figure out what what you actually desire to create in your life. And that's what this foundation of intentions is all about, to get really clear how you actually want to feel and what that looks like for you. And a lot of the times, like, we don't feel good because we're stressed out by all the stuff that we've put on our plate. And so it's like, okay, great. We don't need to feel stressed out and overwhelmed all the time. How do we want to feel? How do you want to be feeling? How do you want to be showing up? And then getting, first of all, really clear on how you want to be feeling and then what that looks like. So does it mean spending time with other people? Does it mean not spending time with certain people? Does it mean, working a certain amount of hours in your business and then being able to cap it? Does it mean, starting to work towards that new goal and like being really clear on like how you're working towards it? So getting intentional and getting clear on what it is that you actually want to be creating is really that first step, because otherwise you don't really know what it is that you need to not be doing anymore if you don't know where you want to be going.
Of course. And I love how you touched on the fact that it's like, okay, like, where do you want to show up? Like, what do you love to do? But also, what do you not want to do? Are there people that you don't want to spend time with? Because we almost feel like obligated to be like, oh, well, we have to spend time with certain family members or certain people that maybe you work with. And it's like, if they don't serve you, if they suck all your energy out,
Yes.
like a sucker fish on a shark, then it's like, no, like, also make sure that you're looking at things that don't serve you and things that you don't want to do, and declutter that as well.
100%. And that, like, getting clear on your intentions means having that clarity. And then in turn, you start protecting your energy and start recognizing like what's actually important to me. And that's again where the decluttering then comes into play, because you start to practice this relationship with yourself, where after all these years of ignoring and suppressing and being like, what, I'm going to push through and get this work done, or I'm going to just continue to show up for these people because like they need me right now. And it's like, okay, let's press pause, get clear on your intentions, and then start showing up in alignment with those. And that really is at its core connecting back to you and like, what are your needs and what is your body asking of you right now?
Yes, listening to our intuition, stepping back and stepping into ourselves is so important, because as women in general, we spread ourselves so thin, whether we have like kids or not, because I do believe a lot of women in this world, we have that motherly instinct regardless if we have any kids. And so we just want to help so many people and do things for them and always be doing something. And it's like, whoa, okay, let's step back, step into yourself, and like, what do you need for yourself?
Yeah.
Because we're constantly pouring our cup out, but we're never filling it. And then we're running on these fumes as if you're out of gas in your car and you're trying to like make it to the next gas station. You're on the highway and it's like, okay, I'm running on fumes. Am I going to make it to the next gas station?
Yes, 100%.
So what kind of encouragement or advice would you give someone that's bumping up against the challenges of decluttering and letting go of like physical and mental things that they've been holding on to for so long?
Those are like kind of two different categories for me. So I feel like encouragement wise, for me, it always comes back to sharing with my clients, like this comes up a lot, but like giving yourself grace. Like we kind of have this tendency to feel like I need to just do this and I need to get it done. And then like, I'm going to move on. And it's like, okay, like let's just be in this process right now, as opposed to constantly feeling like we need to get to the next level or get this thing done. Decluttering, whether you're doing it like physically in your environment or mentally or emotionally, like internally, and going through that up-leveling mindset transformation, like that is a process. And that is not something that we can rush through, especially if you have, overworking type A kind of tendencies, which was totally me as well. Like I need to keep checking myself and being like, okay, are we giving ourselves grace here? Are we surrendering and like letting go of control, because we can't actually control the situation? It's a big process, whether it's physical or mental and emotional, and to just allow yourself to be in it. That's what I would say in terms of encouragement.
I love that. And I love that you also like touched on like the whole like type A personality, because girl, I am so type A.
Yes.
I was so controlling like in so many areas of my life and wanting to control like every aspect of my life. And the moment that I started to let go of those and just kind of like let things be and accept that I can't control everything, I have given myself so much grace and given myself so much inner peace. And I do know that there are like type B people that everyone does want some sort of control in their life. Like we do all kind of want some sort of control or feel like we do, but type A girls like us, we just want like above and beyond. And it's so hard to step back from that.
It's so hard. And it kind of comes back to that, dominant belief that we have taken on throughout our lives of like, I need to show up and I need to like do it the best and it needs to be perfect and da 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 da. And it's like, there is so much forcing energy that comes into that. And honestly, regardless of whether or not you do consider yourself a type A person, for anyone listening, if you're coming into a process or doing work or doing decluttering, whatever it is, like that task that's in front of you, and you're coming in with this like forcing energy of like, I just need to get it done, or I'm just going to do 5 more minutes, or like, I know I need to take a break, but I'm just going to push through. And it's like, that is such low vibe energy. And when we show up with that energy, like it's harder for us to actually create the momentum. We start to feel scattered. We start to feel unfocused. Like it really is this downward spiral. And really what that comes from is, again, not listening to our bodies, not saying, hey, I'm tired right now, I need this rest, or hey, let's pivot right now, or maybe this task that I'm doing doesn't really feel in alignment with me. Like, what do we need to shift here? And actually, again, slowing down and giving yourself that grace to actually readjust, and that it's okay to, shift directions if something doesn't feel right, and to, again, clear the clutter that's in your way, from really seeing, okay, this is the direction I want to be going in, and it's okay to slow down and actually make that call.
Yes to all the slowing down. Yes. You're so focused on like future and like everything that's going to come, and like, we want to do this and this and this and this. It's a huge struggle for a lot of people, especially now because of like the internet and social media, and just like focusing like, oh, like we need to like think about goals like 5 years in the future, and it's like, yes, but we also need to enjoy the present as well.
Yes.
And be present with ourselves.
Yes. And that's like where that flow happens. Like when you're working from that place, or just existing in your life, like even when you're not working in that place, that is where you attract more abundance. That's where things start to fall into place. That's where you are actually surrendering and releasing that grip of control, and giving yourself that grace to stop doing all the time and just.
Yeah. So any ladies that are like listening to this, whether this is still in COVID time, depending whenever you hear this, book yourself like a vacation where you like don't have everything planned out. The moment that I like went on a vacation with a couple friends and we're like, let's just go with the flow, whatever we feel in the moment, we'll just go do it. And like, yeah, things don't always go your way. We tried to go to the Keg for dinner. They were fucking booked. And we're like, okay, we got to go somewhere else, but we're still going to go out for dinner at this time because this is what we want. And everything like worked out the way it was supposed to. But after that weekend, we're like, holy shit, we all feel so much better. We feel relaxed. We feel just so good about everything. And we're ready to tackle Monday because the weekend was over, and we're like, we're just ready. We're so excited for Monday to come tomorrow. And we're ready because we just revitalized our soul with that intentional time and being present and not having everything planned out, and just like letting go of like a lot of things to just relax.
Yeah, I love that. That's so beautiful and so important.
And I know you did that recently as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that. And it's so funny that you bring that up too, because like you said, you were like, the keg was closed and and like we booked a cottage up north in Muskoka, for anyone who knows Canada at all. But basically the power went out an hour after we got there, and it was just a weekend of pivoting. But it just comes back to the fact that like everything is mindset. Like, are you going to decide like, oh my God, this sucks, and like I'm pissed off right now because I paid for this and now I drove up here and and spiral? Or are we going to say, okay, what can we do? Like, how can we make the best of it? And it was such an enjoyable weekend, and we ended up pivoting, rebooking somewhere else in the end, but it all worked out. And it's coming from that place of like, I'm just going to trust that things are going to work out the way that they're meant to, and we're going to have a good time, and release that hold of like, it needs to be this way, and we need to be at this cabin, and we need to be doing these things. And it's like, no, you don't. It's about how you're showing up in that moment, and that's what creates the experience.
Yes. And of course there's nothing wrong. So anyone listening that like likes to plan vacations, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, we're talking about the whole thing that like the universe just kind of is like, things don't always go your way, and things are going to come up. Shit's going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
And like you said, like the power went out. You guys had to rebook a different place. And then with my example, we went out to dinner, and it's like, okay, we can't go here. Let's walk down the street and see what else is available. Cause our first choice wasn't there. And we're just like, okay, that's fine. We'll go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like being able to adapt to your situation and find another solution.
Yeah, totally. And like you said, nothing wrong with planning. I'm a planner. I can put my hand up for that one. But it's kind of a fun experiment to just be like, let's just see what happens. Like, can I just let go for this afternoon, for this evening? Like, make it a short excursion if you're feeling like a little like not wanting to not plan, and just see how things fall into place.
Yes, that is a great piece of advice to any woman that's like, whether they're a mom or they like just work so hard in their career or their business, it's like, if you literally just don't have the time right now to take away a week or a weekend, take an afternoon on a weekend day, like whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday, take the afternoon and like space out like 2 to 3 hours, and you can just like go with the flow. What do you feel like? Do you want to read a book? Do you want to sit with a cup of tea or a glass of wine? Like whatever your favorite beverage is, or like whatever you feel like, just do it and like listen to yourself. Cause it's like, oh, if your gut's telling you, hey, I want to do this, listen to that. And then see what comes about that, like once you actually do it.
Yeah, totally.
So how can women build their confidence with decluttering mentally, physically, all the things?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's so much in that from what we've talked about. So like to summarize it, I feel like, yeah, it's really about clearing what's not serving you. And when you clear the stuff that's blocking you, whether that be, you know, the relationship you're in or the job that you're in, or like the amount of stuff that you have on your plate or the amount of people or things you're committing to, that's when you really give yourself space to show up in your own power, like we talked about at the beginning. As soon as we can, like the way I feel or the way I think about it is kind of like this curtain in front of your eyes. And it's the curtain represents all the clutter and all the things that are kind of in your way, that are taking up your attention, draining your energy. And it's preventing you from kind of seeing your path clearly to say, okay, this is where I want to go, or like, this is why I'm doing these things, because this is where it's going to take me. And so really clearing away, again, whether it be physical, mental, or emotional clutter, that's really the stuff that's blocking you from stepping into your next level, or even just for starters, having the clarity to know what your next level actually even is. I would say clutter is just that roadblock. It's the stuff that is preventing us from feeling into, okay, this is the person I want to become. And this is what confidence, like, this is what the up leveling process looks like for me. And I want to feel confident so that I can step into my business or start doing this thing or start reaching these goals, and whatever it is for you, you need that confidence. Like that is your self-worth. That is your grounding in your capabilities and your value, essentially.
Yes. So ladies, whoever's listening to this, you are born worthy. You do not have to earn your worth. You are always worthy, and it doesn't matter what has happened in your past. You are worth every single penny. You can literally do whatever you want. So build your confidence and realize your worth so that you can go after the things that you want. And hey, like seriously, decluttering has changed my life. So if you haven't done it, follow Olivia. Like even her free tips I followed, and I'm like, damn, like these are like these are awesome. Like they work so good. So if you're like thinking about your journey of decluttering, like take this interview, this recording, and like listen to it like a couple times, make lots of notes, because there's so many golden nuggets in here to help you. And this conversation has been so beautiful. So thank you so much for being a part of the summit, taking time out of your day and your schedule to be here and share your brilliance with us. I appreciate you so much, Olivia.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that I could be a part of this and that we could have this chat.